Mist lingered between the trees like breath holding its silence. The forest was still half asleep, and the morning light slipped gently through wet leaves. She walked slowly along the narrow path, brushing away branches, her boots sinking into the damp moss. Somewhere behind her, a twig cracked, and she turned. The other girl appeared from the fog, a faint smile on her lips, a backpack slung over one shoulder. "You really came," she said softly. "I told you I would." They hadn't seen each other in months, not since that train ride that neither could forget. And now, far from noise, far from anyone else, they met again where no one would ask questions. The forest surrounded them like a cathedral of green and silence. Birds called distantly, drops fell from branches with lazy rhythm. They walked side by side without speaking for a while. The air between them felt alive, full of things unsaid, yet understood. When they reached a small clearing, she spread a blanket on the grass. "Still like tea in the morning?" she asked. "Always," came the quiet reply. Steam rose from the thermos, mingling with the fog. Their hands brushed again, just a touch, and it felt like lightning beneath the calm. "You didn't write," one said, not looking up. "I tried, but every time I did, I felt like I was lying." "About what?" "About being okay." The silence that followed was heavier than the fog, and in that moment, the forest seemed to breathe with them, patient, watching, eternal. Then, without thinking, she reached out and tucked a wet strand of hair behind the other's ear. Their eyes met, close, fragile, real. For a moment, it was as if the entire world stopped breathing. The wind stirred, carrying the scent of pine and rain. She smiled faintly. "You always find the quiet places," she said, "because that's where the truth hides." And in the quiet heart of the forest, the truth between them finally began to wake. By noon, the fog had thinned, and sunlight spilled through the trees in golden streaks. The forest shimmered, every leaf glistening, every sound crisp and near. They walked deeper into the woods, following no path. At a fallen log, they stopped. One of them sat, tracing her fingers along the rough bark. "Do you ever think about that night?" "Every time I close my eyes." She sat beside her, their shoulders touching. The nearness felt both comforting and dangerous, like standing too close to fire. "I don't know what this is," she whispered. "It doesn't have to be anything. It just has to be real." The sunlight flickered through branches, dancing across their faces. Somewhere far off, water ran, a quiet stream whispering secrets through the stones. The air smelled of moss and memory. "I was scared to see you again," one admitted. "Why?" "Because I knew it would still feel like this." The confession hung between them, raw and trembling. And then, as if the forest itself demanded honesty, she leaned closer. Their foreheads touched, eyes closed, and for a moment they just breathed the same air. No words, no explanations, just the rhythm of two hearts that had been trying not to find each other. When they finally opened their eyes, the wind had picked up. Leaves swirled in soft spirals around them, catching the sun. "We should go," she said quietly. "I know." They stood, facing opposite directions for a second too long. "If this is goodbye..." "It's not," the other interrupted. "It's just another pause." And as they walked away through the golden forest, not together, not apart, the silence followed like a promise. The forest had seen everything, held every word unspoken, and somewhere, in the rhythm of wind and light, their story kept on breathing.